immediately something in me said, just go for it. Whatever happens, whatever the consequences, just go with it. And I've never looked back.
Hello, hello, hello everyone. Welcome to Unleashed Voices. And today you're tuning into the Soulpreneurs Series. And I'm so excited to be joined by Shilpa. Shilpa, hi, how are you?
Hi, Harry. I'm good. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. I'm so excited to have you here today.
I'm excited to be here. I've been looking forward to it for a very long time.
Oh, great. That's really great. Shilpa, for the viewers, whoever's watching, share what you do, how you got here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shilpa. I'm an intuitive tarot reader and medium. My journey started I would say about in my mid-30s. Um, just out of curiosity, started watching YouTube videos on tarot, learned a lot, built up my energy, and then I used to do tarot readings for friends and family, but a lot of people kept saying, no, you need to do it professionally, including Harry. She was one of my first mentors. And so then Harry encouraged me to do my Facebook page, and that's how my journey started. I've been doing tarot reading for 7 years, and now I'm doing it in public as well, not just in for families and friends. My journey as a medium was quite interesting. I knew that I had some skills, but there was a family who were going through a very difficult circumstances, and I got this message from someone who passed into the afterlife, and I was like, I can't message a complete stranger and say, I've got this message for you. I thought, what are they going to think? But then I just kept thinking, no, this is not my message to keep. I have to do it, whatever the consequences. So I did it. And that family, bless them, tested me in every way they could think of, because I know for Asians, a medium is somebody to be mistrusted, don't want to believe in it, don't want to think about it. And it was really interesting. They tested me. But what happened with that is that I gave them information which nobody could have. I wouldn't have known them from anyway. They didn't know me from anyway, but I gave them that information, which then they verified is true. And this particular family, the lady who was affected it by it most, she said, Shilpa, you need to develop the skill. And then I watched a medium live because I've always been curious by nature. It's not something that anything new I have to learn about it. And I went and watched a medium live, and I thought, if she can do that, wow. She was just bringing out all this information naturally, and I was sat there thinking, wow. And lockdown, as everyone gets bored, so I thought, I'm going to start watching her live videos, and then she roped me into her classes very cleverly. But I feel nothing is mistake. The universe has brought you on this journey for a reason. So I did a few of her courses. Then my friend encouraged me. She said, Shilpa, come into our mediumship group where we practice. And then out of the blue, my friend, who's a medium as well, was working for a company. And one of the mediums called in sick. So she texted me at the last minute, said, Shilpa, can you fill in? And I said, go in public into strangers and just start doing mediumship? No. Immediately, something in me said, just go for it. Whatever happens, whatever the consequences, just go with it. And I've never looked back. I've been working for that company for 2 years now, doing public mediumship reading. And it's just, face the fear. Yeah. So, it's been an amazing journey, to learn the tarot. And I've just completed my intuitive tarot masterclass as well last week, because I was self-taught, but I thought there's always more to learn, and learning never stops. If you're open to learn, the journey continues. And me being the curious person I am, I love learning new stuff. And then it translates into my readings, which I want to do to empower people, give them guidance from above. Because let's face it, we all have problems in life, and we all need that guidance. And from my own personal experience, I have worked with a lot of, I know, I when I was vulnerable, I called every person I could get my hands off, looking for that advice, that guidance, that support on this, difficult journey. And, unfortunately, like a lot of them are scam artists, and you did lose a lot of money. But then when you're vulnerable, that's what you do. So that's why my personal mission is to make everybody, give everybody that support and the guidance from the universe, and bring it to them and help them on this journey. Now, my thing is, I do not just read tarots like a conventional reader. I do not sit there and say, this card means this, and because it's come in this position, that's what it means. What I do is when I connect with your energy, I'm literally channeling. So it's like my psychic senses take over, and that my intuition takes over, and I'm just giving you what I hear, and it is guidance, and it's how you interpret it and how you choose to use this information to help you. But so far, touch wood, how many people have come back to me and said, it's helped them change their lives. So it's not about, it's being open and receptive, but also using your own discretion and thinking about, how do I use this, how do I work with this, and navigating life's journey with that. It's not straightforward from A to B. Sometimes it goes in a curve, but it's having that knowledge, that guidance, that empowerment to take you from A to B, no matter what life brings you in between.
I mean, life is ups and downs. It's never going to be a smooth curve anyway. So it's all about having amazing beings like yourself to guide us. But what I just want to go back to one thing you said is the fear.
Yeah,
It's very natural for fear to take over our approach to want to try something or wanting to do something. Um, Tell me a little bit of how you overcame that.
I think you know what somebody said something. I don't know which podcast it was or something I read, and somebody said, face the fear and do it anyway, because there's a lesson to be learned. And I just thought, well, if I don't face this fear and do what I'm scared of, I'll never know if I can do it. And then I'm going to sit there thinking, what if, what if I tried? What if it went well? What if? And then that regret and it's just going to keep eating away at you. So, and I'm doing things I've never done before. So I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm going in with complete and utter trust in the universe that it's going to go well. And sometimes, there
And
is bigger being out there, the universe, spirit guides, whatever you want to call them, they are there to support you on this journey. It's just like let go, surrender, and trust them to take you from A to B. And if you don't succeed, it's not a problem because there's a lesson you've learned behind that as well.
yes, 100%. It's all about the lessons as we're navigating our journey in a business, especially. There are going to be downs and ups. Sometimes when you're first starting your business, there's more downs than ups. And it's about utilize rather than thinking I failed, it's thinking actually, what have I learned from this?
Exactly. And then you take those lessons and you move forward. And it's all about, just putting yourself out there and, you get your knockbacks, but that teaches you something as well. And if you trust the universe,
And
you'll be guided to the right people, right situations, right places. And if you say, for example, you meet somebody and you say, okay, let's collaborate, or I will do readings at your place, and it never works out, I've learned to say, okay, universe, this is not the right place, not right situation for me. That's okay. Guide me to the next one. Where do I go next from here? So really getting in tune with your intuition and using the power that we are given. And when you're not sure, you can always reach out for a tarot reading, psychic reading. Just make sure it's a genuine person who genuinely wants to help. And, they might give you that little nugget that you already knew, but you just get the confirmation. So it's almost like, yes, your higher self was telling you this, but then the universe says, okay, I'll back it up with a message from Shilpa. And then yeah, I needed to do that. I needed to face that, but I wasn't ready to do it. But now I've got the confirmation. I'm going to do it.
and it's also important that as humans, we just naturally don't like trusting our gut instinct. Even though everyone says trust your
So,
gut instinct, but we always like lead from the heart or our mind, but never actually listen to our gut. And sometimes it's true, by getting the right guidance from a card message, we may have a question that's pending on our minds. But Shilpa, explain to some of the viewers who may never have had a card reading or a psychic reading done before, what happens in the reading?
well, basically, first of all, like I said, as soon as I start speaking to you, we've got the energy connection. And then I go into my, as soon as made that connection and I see the cards, like a generic tarot reader is just going to sit there and tell you card A means this, card B means this. What I am doing is channeling using my intuition. I am looking at your cards. I am looking for a story. What's the message behind this? Why has this card appeared next to this card? What is the story? What is the connection? And then as we speak, you can ask me questions. I'm open to questions because I'm here to help you. So generally, when I do a reading, first I say to the person, please let me say what's coming, because that way, I'm giving you a genuine reading. You see, what some people will do is they will fish information, what you're hoping to hear, and then they'll feed back to you. And you'll come back from the reading thinking, well, that didn't help me because they're fishing for that
Right,
information. That's why I always insist to my clients, I know it's you have to wait and listen to me first. But that way, I'm not influenced by your thought, what you want to know or anything. So I'm not feeding you what you're hoping to hear. I'm feeding you what the universe has guided you to hear, as opposed to, what you're hoping to hear. Because sometimes what we are hoping to hear is not the right advice and guidance, because the
right.
universe wants to push you in another direction. But the human ego steps in, which is our human ego, and says, even when I do my own readings, I have to be open and receptive. Because when I'm choosing my cards, I'm thinking, is this coming from what I want to see in the cards? Or is it coming from my intuition? So when I'm reading for somebody, I prefer not to know nothing, because then it's pure intuition coming forward. And then when I finish the reading, I'm happy to say, okay, what questions have you got? And then I look at the cards again and see what the message behind it is. But 9 out of 10 times people say we've already got the answer, because they just sat there and listened to me. I've not been influenced by their thoughts or their questions or anything. I've already answered their questions in the reading. And every tarot card has got a message. Oracle cards are more, tarot cards are more like your practical life, what's happening on a day-to-day basis as a human person. So what's happening in your life, your career, your finances, your next steps. Whereas oracle cards are more gentle, they're more like intuitive, higher self guidance towards you. So I use a combination of both, because I want you to have the practical knowledge, but also the universe's guidance. How do you cope with this? What is the best step you can do? Be gentle. Sometimes it could be a simple message as fill your own cup, because your cup is empty and you're trying to fill other people's cups. This is what I take pride in. I'm not a conventional tarot reader.
Shilpa, talk to me a little bit more about the mediumship side of things, because I think I'm really excited about, having someone in front of me with a gift that they're able to receive messages from the outside world, beyond our human experience. Share a little bit about what happens in that experience for you.
First of all, I want to say, there are two misconceptions about mediumship. One of them is people think that if you are a medium, you're disturbing the person in spirit. You are not. Because
Right.
people in spirit will only come and communicate with you if they choose to. It's like you can ring, but if the telephone's engaged, you're not going to talk to somebody because they don't want to talk to you. So
Okay.
I think this is, one misconception I really want to address, especially amongst the Asian community. People seem to think if you're ringing a person in spirit, you're disturbing their spirit, you're upsetting them. That is not true, because these messages sometimes bring you hope, they bring you clarity, they bring you comfort. And there is times, say there's been a family dispute and everybody's not talking to each other properly, and somebody died under really tricky circumstances. Sometimes it brings healing to the family, because the message
Yeah.
that comes through is all about healing and closure and helping the family to move on. The other circumstances possibly is like, say, somebody dies in a car accident or is really ill in hospital, and the family want to know their transition was peaceful. We can bring that message to them. Yes, I didn't suffer. I was in this horrific crash or whatever, but I didn't suffer. My soul departed straight away. And that can mean so much for a family. And to be honest, every one of us is a medium. The thing is, from childhood, we are layered by society. We are told how to think, how to dress, how to talk, how to do this. We go to school, we go to uni, we just do the step tick box. We are literally born with these senses. Why won't we use them? Everybody is capable of being a medium. It's just society's told us, these things don't exist. They're taboo. Don't discuss them. We don't talk about them, especially Indians. Do we talk about death, mortality? No, it's such a taboo subject. But if you open this up and you look beyond it, there's such a wonderful world. And if you could communicate with someone you love and you miss, why wouldn't you do that? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to hear from them? Why wouldn't you want to have that conversation?
I can understand that family members can be scared of what they may hear,
Yeah,
from what society has told them.
yeah,
They, we know that there's a lot of gifted beings out there,
yeah,
who are able to give us messages, but sometimes there's so much fear mongery, especially in the Asian society. There's so much fear mongery about what this all means, and that you could be fake, or there's so many taboo subjects like what you said, that it puts fear mongery. And I love getting card readings and psychic readings and tarot readings done, and I've learned over time that it's better to have an open mind and not live by the messages that have come. It's a great way of having a message from the higher self, from the spirit guides, from the universe, from departed souls. But it's not actually, let it consume you, because some people just literally are addicted to getting messages from, the spirit world. Um, but I think with the Asian community, there's a lot of fear mongery put into us. And you're right, everyone is gifted. Like I've been hearing so much that the children born, they are gifted, but it's when society takes over and dampens that gift, that as time goes on, they've got to bring that gift back out.
exactly. Because if you think about it, children, because they're not influenced by the society when they're very young, up to age 8, they can see spirit, they can interact with spirit because their mind is open. And sometimes
Yeah.
parents assume they're talking to imaginary friends. They're not. They're seeing and living with other beings. They can see them because their third eye is open, and they're accepting. They don't question it. As adults, we'll question everything because society's told us question everything. And that is the
Yeah.
blockage. And the fear mongering, yes, I do agree, but it's like every profession in the world. They're going to be the genuines and they're going to be the fakes. And that is something you have to accept. But trust your intuition and go for, I would say, choose carefully. Look for recommendations, look at reviews, question things, because there are a lot of people who know this is a quick way to make money and they will do it, and they will prey on the vulnerable. So, I 100% say always make sure you've gone by word of mouth from recommendation. Look at reviews. Don't be scared to look at reviews. Question the psychic. How much experience have you got? How did you get this gift? How do you know? And you just go from there, because I've been there, done that. So I've experienced the other side of people being fraudulent and pretending. So I understand where the fear is coming, because people have had bad experiences. But it's for people like
Yeah.
me to change that experience from a negative to a positive, and hopefully open people's minds to, there is more out there, and we've got to trust. You have to think this is not something that started in this 2000s. It's been there for millennia, centuries. Yeah,
Yeah, it's always been there.
yeah.
Shilpa, have you had any unusual experience with the spirit world that you're able to share without obviously talking about like your clients? But have you had like an unusual or something like amazing that you just can't even? Um, there's no reason as to how it's happened, or there's just no explanation as to how it's happened. Is there anything that you can share with us?
Yeah, this is quite a funny experience. This is when even before I started my spiritual journey, when I was at the beginning of my spiritual journey. I used to work in this nursery school, and I'd heard it's haunted, but I wasn't sure. And then
Okay.
it was really interesting. Like, one evening, I and my colleague were locking up because we were the senior staff, and I saw a shadow move across the room so fast it couldn't have been any anything I could explain. I just shut that door, and as we were walking to the car, my friend said to me, "Shilpa, did you see that?" And I said, "Oh, I'm glad that you saw it as well, because I would have freaked out if I freaked out. That's why I didn't mention it." So and we both just got in our car and drove off. We didn't even talk. And then it was really interesting after that. Every time it was my turn to open the nursery in the morning, I would turn the key in the door and open. And there was this farm toy where you had to literally press it for the animals to make sounds. But every
Okay.
time I turned the key and opened the door, the sounds would start coming out of the toy. And the first day I freaked out. I just stood there and thought, no, I'm not going
I
into
would
that.
have freaked
I
out.
Till one of my colleagues comes in. And then I thought, no, this is ridiculous. The kids are going to be here soon. I have to set up nursery. So I just went in. But after that, I was very calm. Every morning when it was my duty, I used to turn the key, open the door, and say, "Good morning, whoever you are. I know you're not an evil spirit, because you're very friendly. You just want to make your, presence known." So, and then that was my routine. Just open the door, say, "Good morning, I know you're here. Have a lovely day," and just leave it at that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like, I would have freaked out as well if that started happening to me.
it would. And, um, there's a place called Newstead Abbey here, which is a really haunted place in Nottingham, where I go to do psychic readings with this company. I am doing it this Friday as well. And I remember the first time, this was my first time doing the psychic night. And I was looking out the window, and I could see this gentleman in hunter's gear, and not like old-fashioned gamekeeper. And I just didn't like his
Okay.
energy. And I really didn't like his energy. But I just thought to myself, angels protect me. I don't know what his problem is. I don't want to know. And then one of the psychics behind me who was working that night said, "You see him too, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, I don't think he wants us here, because some of them can be protective of their area." And she said, "Yeah, he doesn't want us." But and in the evening, to be honest, when I was doing my readings, I could feel the blockages. I had to really work against that blockages and keep my mind focused on what I was doing, because we sense energy. He wasn't very happy we were there, but now I think he's realized they're going to keep doing it. He doesn't bother us anymore.
in terms of the business that you're running now, with your psychic reading and your card readings, what does the future look like for you? Like, are you on a mission? Is there a certain type of people that you would love to help? Tell me a little bit about that. Like, what is your mission?
Well, to be honest, I love helping anybody, especially my main thing is in the past 1.5 years of reading, the really interesting thing that's come up is empowering women.
Okay, I love that. Yes, we're all about empowering women for sure.
Yeah, when I first did the first two readings, I thought this is coincidence, two of them in a row. But then it just kept evolving, and every woman I read for, I was getting the similar message. And I kept saying to the cards, the universe, look, why am I getting the same message for every woman? It's just different guidance depending on their circumstances. But it was always about empower the women, empower the women. And then after that 4 or 5 readings, I thought, okay, universe, if this is what my sole purpose is, then you've got to guide me, help me, support me on this journey. Bring me the right opportunities, bring me the right people. And, I would like to attract those clients who need that empowering, male or female.
Yeah.
I just want the clients who need empowering, who are ready for their spiritual journey. And it's just amazing how that's evolved. Looking long term, I would like to have my own tarot deck. That's my aspiration. I
That'll
have,
be interesting.
I want to do that. I'm really curious to see what comes out. And then I
That'll
think,
be really exciting to see.
yeah, I know it's going to take a lot of hard work, but I'm ready for it. And I think when the time comes, because I don't want it to be a generic tarot reading card. I want it to come from my intuitive messages. So there's going to be a lot of channeling going into that, and it's going to be personalized. It's not going to be a generic one. Yeah. And
Oh,
yeah,
that's very exciting. I'm
yeah,
looking forward to seeing that.
it will be. Yeah, I'm going to put it out to the universe that I'm going to manifest it. And the other thing I'm really interested now is helping people develop their skills. So I did my first introduction to psychic senses courses. That went really well. So I'm holding another one next month. And then I'm also doing introduction to card readings. Everyone has the power within them, but it's discovering and being open and receptive because we have to peel away the onion layers that society has put on us. We're like the core we are spiritual beings. But from the way word goes, society's put layer on layer and layer on layer and layer, and we have to peel back and find who we are at the core. So I think introduction to psychic senses is a good start because then you use your own senses to guide you. So you can start using your intuition to help you make tough decisions, or if you just want guidance on your next step. We all have this gift. It's just been suppressed. It just needs to come out.
And sometimes we don't have time to just stop for
Yeah.
ourselves to just receive the messages. Like, we're so busy living life
Yeah.
that we don't, like, when I speak to so many people in UWW, they don't have time for self-love. They no,
Yeah.
I haven't got time for that.
Yeah. Really interesting because from years ago, you think about it, we had no gadgets, did we?
No.
What did people do? They used to gather around the fire and sing and dance and tell stories and just connect as human beings.
And connect. They
Yeah,
used to connect in person.
yeah. You
Yeah.
know, people used to take time out to care for each other. All that's gone out of the window. Yeah. And that's why we've lost all these gifts. Because which one of us says, okay, I'm going to take out 15 minutes a day to do a self-love. I'm going to have 15 minutes to myself, either to do mindfulness or to, meditate or just even have a tub bath and put my music on and just chill with candlelight. Which one of us does it in this day and age? Nobody takes that time out for self-care, and this is why we are lost.
I also think it what people's understanding of self-love actually means. Like, people, like some other women think, oh, I haven't got time to book myself in for a massage or go and get my nails done. For me, that's not self-love. Self-love is what's going on inside. Check in with yourself. and sit with yourself in silence. Go for a walk in silence. Go for a coffee and just sit and just be present in the moment. And that can be known as self-love, is just having that time out for yourself, which is so
And
important. And we're all lacking that these days because we're finding more time to please everyone else, serve everyone else, the children, the husbands, the pets, the bosses. We're doing it for everyone else, but we can't find time to do it for ourselves.
that's a very interesting point, and that's how life has become. And unfortunately, people have been conditioned to that. It's the expectation of
Especially
society. And who's losing out? You, because you're so busy
it's
meeting.
ourselves.
Yeah, our souls are missing out on that because we're so busy fulfilling the demands of society. We're not thinking about ourselves.
Yeah,
And if you are not present, you're not at one with your higher self. How can you be the best version of yourself?
we can't. You're 100% correct. We
Yeah,
can't because we don't have time for us.
yeah. And if you're not nurturing your mind, your soul, what's going to happen? It
Yeah.
manifests later as disease because we are so used to being on the treadmill 24 hours 7. Our soul, our body is a carrier for our soul. If we are not looking after our body, our soul is also going to suffer. It's not just our body that's going to suffer. It's like if you had a beautiful new car, would you not send it for MOTs? Would you not get it washed? Would you not get it cleaned? People will put more energy
Yeah.
into that than they would do in
Yes, they would.
themselves, which is really, really sad. We put more energy
Yeah.
into material things.
Yeah. Whether it's the car, even like the kitchen appliances, make sure that you've got your 3-year guarantee, and if anything goes wrong, you can get it repaired, get it replaced. But actually, half of us don't even have health insurance
Yeah, and
because
that's
it's
true.
too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
too
at the end of
expensive.
the day, you only got one opportunity at life. If you're not going to live it to the most, you're not living, you're just existing.
Yes, I love that saying. What you've
Yeah.
just said is true. As a South Asian woman who's managing her own business, what challenges have you faced?
I think obviously being a medium is, and a tarot reader is facing the taboos attached to being a medium and a tarot reader. And that was something I kept hidden for a long time because I was afraid of society's judgment. And then 2 or 3 years ago, one day I just woke up and I thought, I don't care. This is me. This is me being true to myself. And if what I'm doing is serving a purpose and it's helping people and I'm being true to myself, what do I care what
Yeah.
society thinks? And that's when I went public. I went on Instagram, I went on everything. And I thought, you know what? Those who want to judge me will judge me anyway. So why am I giving them my time and energy? They're going to judge you regardless what you do or what you don't do. Society's always got own opinion. So why not be the truest, best version of yourself that makes you happy, brings you joy and happiness? That's when you start living, not existing. When you're conforming to society, you're existing. You're not living. You're just existing. When you're living in your divine purpose, soul purpose, and you are
Mm.
doing it with joy and expression. And you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but that's fine. Divine purpose comes from upstairs, not what society tells us. And we are
And this
all,
is unfortunately, as adults, these are the sort of patterns that we're breaking.
yeah, because we are spiritual beings. We are spiritual beings having a human existence. And what is
Yeah.
interesting is now people are walking away from that human existence of, I need to have the perfect house. I need to have the perfect job. I need to have this. I need to have that. And people are reaching out to and realizing, no, actually, my soul means more. My divine purpose means more. I need to find that. And this is what it's interesting. A lot of women I've done readings from are in their 40s, 50s, all leaving high flying careers where they were raking in the money. They had the jobs, they had the cars, they had everything. They're all leaving these high flying careers to become Reiki masters, becoming energy healers, and is whatever. But it's something to do with healing and helping the universe and helping people progress. And I find that so fascinating. At first, I thought it's just a coincidence. I'm doing readings. But this is women empowering themselves and saying, hey, I'm not supposed to be like this, but society told me this is what I need to be. And now at
So
age,
they tick that box.
yeah, now they're realizing, no, there's more to me. I'm a natural healer. I'm a counselor. I'm a tarot reader. I'm a, energy healer. And they're all changing their, you know, um, outlook on life.
And I also find that when we go through some form of trauma or a deep challenge in life, allows us to shift that energy down the spiritual route. That's what happened to me. Is like when I went through some trauma in my life, and then I started going through like the spiritual path and working on my personal development, self love, started getting healing sessions, and that just developed me as a person. And now it's more about nourishing my soul as opposed to what's going to bring in the money.
I think the trauma that the universe brings us is not intentional, but it's to wake us up
It is to wake us up,
and say
100%.
you are a divine being having a human existence, but it doesn't mean that, you conform and be what society expects you to be.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that
yeah.
it's amazing to watch all these women bloom and, own their power. And if you think about it, the feminine energy has always been nurturing, loving, caring. And where the masculine energy is dominant, what's happening there? Destructions, wars. So it is the divine feminine is, Mother Gaia is saying, I need to heal and I'm going to fight back. And who's developing all these nurturing skills and becoming empowered and becoming healers and nurturers? Women. I'm going to balance this out because it's been too masculine for too long.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Shilpa. This was a really interesting conversation. Just loved how the progression of this whole conversation went down the route. It was really exciting to hear about your journey, and you're so passionate about what you're doing. So thank you so much for coming on today and
Thank you
sharing your
for the
story.
opportunity.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone watching till the next time, and see you on the next session.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Harry. Bye.